Can you imagine that the total weight of all ants on Earth equals the weight of all humans? Despite their tiny size, ants are among the most numerous creatures on the planet. The total weight of all ants on Earth is equal to the weight of all humans. This astonishing fact highlights just how numerous these small workers are. Ants live in every corner of the planet, and their contribution to ecosystems is incredibly important. It's another example of how nature surprises us with its unexpected scales. Who would have thought that ants are such heavyweights in the natural world? Have you ever wondered if sand can turn into glass? Glass is made by heating sand to a temperature above 1,400 degrees Celsius, at which point it melts. The result is a material that looks completely different from the original sand. This process was discovered in ancient Egypt and is still used today to make everything from windows to high-tech smartphone screens. So, ordinary sand literally transforms into a transparent material that has changed our world. Is it true that the Olympics once included art competitions? From 1912 to 1948, the Olympic Games did indeed award medals to artists, composers, sculptors, and architects. During this era, art competed alongside sports, and medals were awarded for artistic disciplines such as sculpture, painting, music, and even architecture. This blend of sports and art symbolized that physical strength and creative talent could go hand in hand. Although there is no art segment in the Olympics today, this part of history evokes admiration and nostalgia for a time when artistic achievements were recognized on par with athletic feats. Can you imagine that there's a village in Poland with upside-down houses? In the village of Szymbark, Poland, there's a unique house that stands upside down. It's not just an artistic installation, but a real tourist attraction that you can enter. The house was built as a symbol of the upheavals and changes that Poland experienced in the 20th century. Inside, everything is also upside down: the furniture, the stairs, and even the windows. Visitors who enter often feel slightly disoriented because the inverted space creates a dizzying effect. This place has become a tourist sensation and a must-see for anyone visiting the area. Did you know there's a lava river that has been burning for decades? In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, there's the Nyiragongo volcano, which is famous for its lava lake, the largest in the world. This volcanic lake is one of the few on the planet that remains almost constantly active. Its lava flows at an incredible speed, up to 100 kilometers per hour, creating a genuine river of fire. Since scientists began monitoring the volcano in the mid-20th century, this fiery flow has practically never stopped. The lava river of Nyiragongo is a stunning representation of nature's raw power, and its heat can be felt for kilometers around. Did you know the average person spends 6 months of their life at traffic lights? The average person spends around 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. This adds up from all the small stops we make at intersections and crosswalks every day. While it may seem like only a few seconds here and there, over a lifetime, it becomes a significant chunk of time. These moments of waiting remind us of the hidden rhythms of everyday life and how much time we spend on seemingly small things. Believe it or not, lasers can actually cool objects. While lasers are typically associated with heat, there are special lasers that can cool objects down to ultra-low temperatures. This process, called laser cooling, is used to reach temperatures near absolute zero. These technologies play a key role in quantum physics and are used in experiments with atoms and particles, leading to groundbreaking discoveries in science. Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy, where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. Imagine a hybrid of a cow and a bison. It's a beefalo. Yes, there exists a unique hybrid of a cow and a bison called a beefalo. These animals combine the traits of both cows and bison, and they are known for their impressive hardiness. Beefalos can be found in certain regions of the United States, where they have become agricultural stars. They are bred as a more resilient alternative to traditional livestock, being better suited to harsh conditions. Imagine, you're on a stroll and come across this amazing creature that looks like a mix of the majesty of a wild bison and the domesticity of a cow. A true wonder of nature, brought to life by genetic experimentation. Is it possible that giraffes only sleep 30 minutes a day? These incredible animals can survive on minimal sleep. Giraffes sleep for only about 30 minutes a day, and they even do it standing up. They have a special mechanism that allows them to rest in short intervals of a few minutes to avoid predators. With such long legs, they can quickly spot approaching danger. Did you know that in the USA there is a monument known as the Four Corners, located at the intersection of 4 states: Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona? This unique geographical location is one of the most unusual in the world. Thousands of tourists flock here to take photos at the point where 4 states meet. This monument is not just a point on the map. It's a symbol of how geography can create unique, almost magical places on Earth that become cultural and historical landmarks. Moreover, it draws the attention of researchers and geographers from around the world, serving not only as a tourist attraction, but also as a subject of scientific study. Did you know that 2 to 3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2 to 3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. How did lasers help discover a ghost city under the jungle in America? In Honduras, scientists used laser scanning technology to survey dense jungles and stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient city hidden beneath centuries-old trees. This city, known as the White City or City of the Gods, had been forgotten and inaccessible to people for hundreds of years. Local legends say the city is cursed, and researchers found numerous artifacts that remain mysterious to this day. Did you know why watches in ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Did you know that in the US, 1 in 8 couples met through online dating? This is an intriguing and telling fact about how technology has transformed personal relationships. Modern Americans increasingly turn to the internet to find partners, making this a norm in the digital age. This trend continues to grow, with dating sites becoming ever more popular. Over the past few decades, online dating has become an integral part of life for most Americans. The world's shiniest fruit. Meet the African pollia. Believe it or not, the shiniest living organism on Earth is not a gemstone or an exotic animal. but the African fruit Pollia condensata. This vibrant blue fruit with an iridescent sheen has a unique ability to reflect light. Its outer surface reflects light so intensely that it appears to glow from within. Scientists are studying this phenomenon to better understand how such a structure can be created in nature. This fruit has become a true mystery for botanists because its glow is caused by microscopic cell structures that reflect light like diamonds. No wonder it's considered one of the shiniest things on Earth. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Magirocophobia. Fear of cooking is real. Magirocophobia goes far beyond just not wanting to cook. It's a deep-rooted fear that can grip someone at the mere thought of turning on the stove. Imagine standing in a kitchen, surrounded by pots and pans, and feeling a wave of terror, like you're in a haunted house. It's not about being bad at cooking. It's the fear that keeps people away. Not all scary things hide in closets. Some are lurking in your cookbook. Surprisingly, the fact is that the area of the United States of America is 9th on 147,593 kilometers, making it the fourth largest country in the world, behind Russia, Canada, and China. This vast territory encompasses various climate zones, from the tropics of Florida to the cold regions of Alaska, and is home to a wide range of natural landscapes. Moreover, in addition to its size, the U.S. is also known for its population. With 335 million people, it ranks third in the world by population, underscoring its significance on the global stage. Your chances of winning the lottery? Dangerously low. How likely do you think it is to win the lottery? Believe it or not, the chances of dying on your way to buy a lottery ticket are higher than hitting the jackpot. Statistically, your odds of winning the lottery are so low that you're more likely to suffer from an unfortunate accident. This doesn't mean you shouldn't play, but perhaps it's worth remembering that true luck is just getting home safe and sound. So if you decide to try your luck, be cautious. Sometimes the road to your dream can be more dangerous than you think. Wow! It turns out that the 12 apostles in Australia are not only a natural wonder, but also a piece of historical heritage. The limestone stacks, known as the 12 apostles, are located along the coast of Port Campbell National Park in Australia. These majestic formations attract around 2 million visitors each year and represent not just a natural phenomenon, but also significant historical value. They are part of an erosion process that has been ongoing for thousands of years and symbolize the power of nature. How much do you think the world's largest burger weighs? In 2017, a Michigan restaurant cooked up the world's biggest burger, weighing in at a whopping 1,164 kilograms. That's over 2,500 pounds of beef. The burger was stacked with 300 pounds of cheese, 150 pounds of lettuce, 150 pounds of onions, and 100 pounds of bacon. It took 10 hours to cook and was served to 350 guests. That's one burger you'll never forget. Caffeine. Energy or illusion? Caffeine is the most popular psychoactive substance in the world, but it doesn't actually give you energy. Instead, it blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, preventing them from signaling tiredness. It's a kind of trick that makes your brain feel alert and awake. What's even more fascinating is that caffeine's molecular structure is very similar to that of adenosine, allowing it to take the place of this neurotransmitter. This clever process helps us wake up in the morning and stay alert throughout the day. Now imagine, it's all just a game of chemistry. Why a day on Venus is longer than its year? Did you know that one day on Venus is longer than an entire Venusian year? Venus rotates around its axis so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. But its year, its orbit around the Sun, lasts only around 225 days. Imagine standing on Venus, watching the Sun rise and set over the course of several months. By the time a Venusian evening arrives, 2 Earth years have passed. This makes Venus one of the most paradoxical planets in our solar system. Why can rivers in Iceland change their direction? Iceland is a country known for its unusual natural phenomena, and rivers here can unexpectedly change their direction. This happens due to volcanic activity under glaciers. When magma heats the ice, massive amounts of meltwater form underground rivers that change course, depending on the pressure and movement of the ice. As a result, a river can flow in the opposite direction within just a few days, leaving residents and tourists puzzled. What if I told you that bees can recognize human faces? Bees are not just hard-working hive workers. They're also skilled at recognizing faces. Yes, they can remember and recognize human faces, especially those they interact with often. This amazing ability helps bees navigate and even remember familiar people, making their complex social interactions smoother. It's incredible, but these little insects have cognitive skills that are often underestimated. Who would have thought that such tiny creatures could be so perceptive? Did you know that holding in a sneeze can be more dangerous than it seems? Have you ever tried to hold in a sneeze so as not to draw attention or disturb those around you? But did you know that this habit can lead to serious consequences? When you suppress a sneeze, the pressure in your blood vessels increases sharply, which can cause a blood vessel in the brain to rupture. In extremely rare cases, this can even lead to a stroke. Yes, such an innocent reflex as sneezing, if suppressed, can turn into a health catastrophe. So don't hold it back. Better to let that sneeze out. Why do seahorses dance before mating? Seahorses perform entire rituals, dancing with their partners to form a special bond before raising offspring. These dances can last for hours, and during them, pairs swim in sync, change colors, and even hold each other by the tails. It's not just a dance. It's a true expression of affection that helps strengthen the bond between partners. In the underwater world, these dances surprise with their grace and tenderness. Did you know that the USA leads the world in Olympic medals? The United States holds the all-time record for Olympic Games medals. American athletes have earned more than 2,900 medals throughout the history of the Games. It is the only country to have won more than 1,000 gold medals. The USA continues to dominate, winning medals at every Olympics since the start of the Games in 1896. In 2024, at the Paris Games, the USA became the first country to surpass 3,000 total medals. This is a phenomenal achievement. What if I told you that space smells like burnt meat? It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. The Royal Game of Ur is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by 2 players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Turns out, Che Guevara was a medical student. Before becoming one of the most influential figures in revolutionary history, Ernesto Che Guevara was studying medicine in Buenos Aires. In his youth, he was filled with a desire to help people, and his medical knowledge later helped him as he became a symbol of the fight for freedom. Who would have thought that a medical student would one day become an icon of world revolution? His drive for justice manifested even in his pursuit to heal people, whether physically or politically. Why are towers in the desert built so tall? In the UAE and other desert regions, modern skyscrapers are not just built high for beauty, but to minimize the impact of heat. At great heights, temperatures are cooler, which helps save on cooling costs. Additionally, tall buildings provide maximum shade to surrounding areas. This unique design solution allows desert cities to counteract extreme climates, creating an oasis of coolness right in the middle of the desert. Did you know that Earth is not a perfect sphere? Our planet is far from being a perfect sphere. Its rotation causes it to bulge slightly at the equator and flatten at the poles. This shape is known as a geoid and results from the centrifugal force generated by Earth's spin. The difference in diameter between the poles and the equator is around 40 kilometers. This deviation from a perfect sphere shows how dynamic Earth truly is, always shaped by the forces acting upon it, even in ways we can't see from the surface. Who would have thought that China has entire ghost cities? In China, there are cities built for millions of people, but they remain almost empty. For example, Ordos is a city designed for 1 million residents, but in reality, only a few thousand people live there. These are huge quarters with skyscrapers that have never been inhabited. The reasons for this disappearance of people are not entirely clear, making these ghost cities a real mystery for urban researchers. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes, and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Why does an entire sea freeze in Canada? In Hudson Bay, winter temperatures can drop so low that the sea completely freezes, turning it into a giant ice desert. The ice here is so thick that even vehicles can travel across it. In winter, locals use it as a road, creating temporary routes directly on the sea's surface. This icy highway becomes vital for those living in the remote areas of northern Canada. It's hard to believe, but the war between Britain and Zanzibar lasted just 38 minutes. In August 1896, Britain and its colony Zanzibar engaged in the shortest armed conflict in history, lasting only 38 minutes. Although this war was brief, it remains a significant episode in British history, vividly demonstrating the power of the empire at that time. Did you know that butterflies taste food with their feet? Butterflies don't use their mouths to taste their food. Instead, they have taste receptors on their feet that allow them to determine if a plant is suitable for laying eggs or feeding. When a butterfly lands on a flower or leaf, it tastes it with its feet, and if it finds the taste favorable, it will start sipping nectar. Imagine if we could taste our meals just by stepping on them. This unique sense helps butterflies find the best places to eat and lay their eggs, ensuring the survival of their species. Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So, while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until sometime after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. Being born on February 29th is a 1 in 1,461 chance. People born on February 29th belong to a very rare club, as this date appears on the calendar only once every 4 years, during a leap year. The odds of being born on this day are about 1 in 1,461. That means only about 0.068% of the population celebrates their birthday on February 29th. They often joke that they age only once every 4 years. Some throw grand parties to mark this special day, making it an even more memorable celebration. How many kilometers do you think it is from the UK to France? Only 32 kilometers. That's the distance across the English Channel. This is why it was decided to connect the shores of the two countries with a tunnel. The construction of the Channel Tunnel, which links the cities of Calais in France and Dover in the UK, marked an important milestone in history. This tunnel became one of the most significant transportation projects, costing $15 billion in 1994, which is equivalent to $35 billion today. Did you know there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth? Surprisingly, there are more stars in the universe than all the grains of sand on every beach on Earth. This cosmic fact highlights the unimaginable vastness of our universe. When you look at the night sky, there are billions and billions of stars, each potentially home to planets we know nothing about yet. Our place in the cosmos feels even more humbling when you realize that stars fill the space far beyond what we can even imagine. How do you think chickens can sleep with their eyes open? Chickens have a unique ability called unihemispheric sleep, where one hemisphere of their brain can enter deep sleep while the other remains alert. This allows them to keep one eye open, monitoring their surroundings while the other half of their brain rests. This ability is crucial for their survival in the wild, where danger can strike at any moment. Imagine being able to nap while keeping a watchful eye out for predators. Chickens are true natural guards. It's a skill that makes them well adapted to a life full of surprises. Can you imagine that in Colorado, there's a town where it's illegal to die? In the town of Nederland, Colorado, there's a strange and even absurd law. You can't die in the town. This law stems from a local history involving attempts to preserve a man's body in a frozen state. Now, the town has declared itself a territory for immortals, and locals jokingly claim that they're simply not allowed to die. Of course, the law isn't enforceable, but many people visit Nederland to laugh at this odd tradition and learn about the story of the frozen eternal resident. Did you know that residents of the United Kingdom who turn 100 years old receive a congratulatory message from the monarch? Every British citizen reaching this milestone gets a personal greeting from the reigning monarch. It is a symbol of respect and gratitude for the long life they have lived. This tradition highlights the importance of honoring the elderly in the UK, where historical continuity and respect for heritage are core values. Each congratulatory moment becomes part of the personal story of thousands, strengthening the bond between the monarchy and its people. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's. Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So, Perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think. It just chooses not to show it. Can you imagine that the world's largest Ferris wheel can hold over 1,000 passengers? In Las Vegas, USA, stands the giant Ferris wheel known as High Roller. This massive wheel has a diameter of 167 meters and can hold up to 1,120 passengers in 28 spacious cabins. The ride takes about 30 minutes, giving riders breathtaking views of the city. The High Roller is not just an amusement ride, but a symbol of the grandeur of Las Vegas. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. Why are days on Earth getting longer? Due to the gravitational interaction between Earth and the Moon, our planet's rotation is gradually slowing down. This phenomenon, known as tidal friction, causes our days to lengthen by about 1.7 milliseconds every century. In the future, our days will be even longer, and we may need to rethink how we measure time. Imagine a snooze button with extra time becoming a necessity millions of years from now. Why do leaves turn red and yellow in the fall? When autumn comes, trees turn off photosynthesis. During this process, the green pigment, chlorophyll, breaks down, and other pigments, carotenoids and anthocyanins, reveal themselves in yellow and red hues. It's like nature putting on a colorful show. Interestingly, the cooler and sunnier the autumn, the brighter these colors will be. Have you ever realized that this is nature's magical performance happening right before your eyes? Isn't it fascinating that our brain stays alert when we sleep in a new place? Have you ever noticed that you sleep less soundly the first night in a new place, like a hotel or a friend's house? This is due to a phenomenon known as the first night effect. It turns out that part of our brain remains on guard when we sleep in an unfamiliar environment, helping to protect us from potential threats. Studies show that the left hemisphere of the brain remains more active than the right, allowing us to react more quickly to external stimuli. This ancient survival mechanism helps our bodies adapt to new surroundings. But don't worry, over time, the brain adjusts to the new place, and the first night effect fades, allowing you to sleep more peacefully. You probably didn't know that corals are animals, not plants. Corals may look like lifeless, stationary organisms, but they are living creatures belonging to the Cnidarian family. They consist of tiny beings called polyps that feed on microscopic plankton. Polyps group together in colonies to form coral reefs, creating one of the most diverse and complex ecosystems on Earth. Despite their simplicity, corals play a crucial role in sustaining marine biodiversity, and their disappearance could alter ocean ecosystems for millennia. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. The accident that changed the world. The invention of the popsicle. Have you ever wondered how the popsicle was invented? It was pure accident. In 1905, an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson left a mixture of soda water and a stick outside overnight. The next morning, the mixture had frozen, and thus the first popsicle on a stick was accidentally invented. Years later, when Frank grew up, he began selling his frozen treat, which quickly became a hit. His children suggested naming it a popsicle, and the name stuck. That's how a simple mistake became a beloved dessert for millions around the world. Did you know that Margherita pizza was named after a queen? Margherita pizza, one of the most popular types of pizza in the world, was named after Queen Margherita of Savoy, the wife of King Umberto I of Italy. Legend has it that the pizza was created to represent the colors of the Italian flag: red, tomatoes; white, mozzarella; and green, basil. This is not just a delicious dish, but also a symbol of Italian national pride and culinary tradition. So, the next time you order Margherita pizza, think about its royal origins. Can you believe that a shrimp's heart is in its head? Yes, you heard that right. A shrimp's heart is located in its head. This fascinating fact makes the shrimp unique among sea creatures. In its tiny head, both the brain and heart work in harmony to keep the shrimp alive. It's like a little command center, where all the vital functions happen in one place. This quirky anatomy allows shrimp to remain highly efficient and agile in their underwater world, making them one of nature's most interesting creations. Why do skunks smell so bad? It turns out that their smell is their main defense mechanism, and it's so powerful that it can scare off most predators from hundreds of meters away. The secret lies in the sulfur-containing chemicals they release from special glands near their tails. And get this, the smell can linger for days on objects and even in the air. Who would have thought that such a small animal could have such a weapon of mass destruction? Anaduan Fao Sao. Did you know that the income gap in the U.S. is enormous? In the U.S., there is a significant income gap between the richest and the rest of the population. The wealth of the top 1% of Americans is equivalent to that of the bottom 90%. This economic divide continues to grow, leading to social tension and an increase in protests over inequality. More and more Americans are concerned about how the wealthy keep accumulating riches while the rest of the population faces economic hardships. Camels, the giants of the desert. Despite popular belief, camels didn't always live in deserts. They originally descended from ancient animals that roamed the forests of North America around 30 million years ago. Over time, they migrated to Africa and Asia, where their humps became an adaptation for surviving in hot climates. These humps, filled with fat, allow camels to go without water for up to 2 weeks. They can drink up to 50 liters of water at once, making them masters of survival in environments where other creatures would perish. Camels remain a vital part of life for many desert communities. How about the longest word with just one vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only one vowel? It's fascinating, as this word is not only powerful in meaning, but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state located within Rome, Italy, and it covers an area of just about 0.49 square kilometers, making it the smallest country in the world. Despite its modest size, the Vatican is a significant center of the Catholic Church and home to many renowned historical sites like St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Its population is around 800 people, making it not only the smallest by area but also one of the least populated states in the world. What's hidden in LEGO's secret vault? LEGO has a secret underground vault that stores every single set of building blocks the company has ever made. It's a true time capsule filled with nostalgia and creativity, waiting to delight fans of all ages. Imagine the wonders hidden beneath this vault. where both classic and modern sets are stored together. This vault is a dream come true for LEGO enthusiasts, preserving the company's entire legacy. Can you imagine that the Tianzi Mountains in China inspired fantasy films? Located in Hunan Province, the Tianzi Mountains are famous for their unique peaks that seem to have grown out of the earth, creating an atmosphere reminiscent of scenes from science fiction movies. These mountains served as inspiration for the creators of the film Avatar and are considered one of China's most incredible natural wonders. For tourists, cable cars have been built that provide breathtaking views of these peculiar rock formations. The invention of the sandwich. The story behind the snack. John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, invented the sandwich as a convenient snack to eat while playing cards. Not wanting to leave the table, he asked his servant to bring him meat between 2 slices of bread. Thus, the sandwich was born, a perfect snack for multitaskers and gamblers alike. So, the next time you enjoy a sandwich, remember that it's more than just a meal. It's a historic snack born from the gaming table. How does a giant rubber duck travel around the world gathering crowds of spectators? A massive inflatable duck, created by Dutch artist Florentine Hofmann, has become an international sensation. Standing over 15 meters tall, it has already floated through rivers and lakes in cities like London, Tokyo, and Sydney, sparking joy among children and adults alike. The duck symbolizes childhood and joy, and everywhere it goes, it's greeted like a celebrity. Some fans even follow it around the world, just to see it in a new location. Can you imagine there's a bridge in Sweden that goes underwater? In Sweden, there is a unique bridge called the Öresund Bridge, which connects the country to Denmark. This bridge suddenly ends and dives underwater, turning into a tunnel. This engineering marvel was designed to avoid interfering with sea traffic. Driving from Sweden to Denmark gives the feeling that you're diving into the sea right in your car, adding an exciting element to the journey. Imagine for a moment that Machu Picchu is not just ruins, but a symbol of Inca greatness. Nestled high in the Peruvian mountains, Machu Picchu is one of the most famous historical sites in the world, built by the Incas in the 15th century. This remarkable city was abandoned and forgotten for centuries until its rediscovery in 1911. Machu Picchu has since become a symbol of the great Inca civilization and one of the most important archaeological sites in South America. Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier-to-manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember, it's using its own little kitchen tools. Did you know that Philadelphia was the first capital of the United States? This city was chosen to host the Continental Congress, which played a crucial role in the country's independence. The city's name, derived from Greek, means brotherly love, symbolizing the spirit of unity and mutual support that inspired the early Americans in the formation of their new nation. Today, Philadelphia continues to hold significant historical importance in the context of the U.S. and remains a site for important cultural and political events. The story of ink saving. How a period saved a newspaper thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first, For publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. Here's what lies behind those black taxis in London. London taxi drivers operate black cabs and must pass a challenging exam to become licensed operators. This exam involves memorizing the city without the aid of maps or navigation systems. This is set against the backdrop of London's often chaotic street layout, shaped by the city's ancient history that prevented the creation of rational plans. In some cases, such as during World War II, authorities intentionally removed street signs to confuse the enemy. Jellyfish. Ancient survivors of 5 mass extinctions. Can you believe that jellyfish have existed on our planet for more than 600 million years and have survived 5 mass extinctions? These ancient creatures started their existence long before the dinosaurs and have adapted to the most extreme changes in climate and environment. They have no brains, hearts, or bones, yet they continue to thrive due to their ability to adapt and survive under any conditions. Jellyfish are considered some of the oldest living organisms on Earth, and they continue to amaze scientists with their unique biology. Imagine how incredible nature is, given that these creatures have endured millions of years of evolution. How do you think the famous alien footsteps sound was made? One of the most memorable sounds in film is the footsteps of the alien from the iconic movie E.T. But how was it created? The answer will surprise you. This unique sound was made using regular jelly. Sound designers simply squished their hands in jelly to imitate the sticky footsteps of the alien. This fact showcases the brilliance and creativity of sound engineers who turn everyday items into amazing sound effects. Now, the next time you watch the movie, you won't be able to hear the alien's footsteps without a smile, knowing their jelly origin. Black panthers. A sleek coat, not a species. The term black panther doesn't refer to a separate species of animals. It's actually a name for leopards or jaguars with a rare coloration. Melanism. Melanism is an excess of dark pigment that makes their fur appear nearly black, creating a sleek and mysterious look. For example, about 11% of all leopards have this striking coloration, turning them into real shadows of the jungle. This genetic phenomenon not only helps the panther blend into the dark forest, but also gives it a legendary status among big cats. Did you know that the Phi Islands survived a devastating tsunami but retained their beauty? Despite the horrific destruction caused by the tsunami in 2004, the Phi Islands in Thailand have maintained their unique and surreal charm. These islands became world-famous after the filming of The Beach, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, where the stunning cliffs and tropical beaches attract thousands of tourists each year. Even now, despite all the challenges, Phi remains a symbol of natural beauty and is an ideal destination for relaxation, diving, and excursions. Can you imagine a snowflake the size of a plate? In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Montana. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. That's the size of a dinner plate. Imagine being under such a snowstorm. This amazing event went down in meteorological history as the most unusual snow phenomenon. So next time you complain about the snow, think, it could have been much bigger and more impressive. Can you imagine that the world's oldest color is pink? In 2018, scientists discovered the oldest known color on Earth, and it's pink. Extracted from billion-year-old rocks in the Sahara Desert, this pink pigment was created by ancient ocean-dwelling bacteria. These bacteria lived long before animals existed, making pink the oldest biological color. The discovery adds a colorful twist to our understanding of life's early history. Is it true that you can see kangaroos on the streets in Australia? Absolutely true. In some Australian cities, there are so many kangaroos that they hop around the streets like regular pedestrians. They're especially common in Canberra, where kangaroos even cause traffic jams. Locals are used to this sight, but it's always a surprise for tourists. In these cities, there are even special signs warning drivers about tail-walking pedestrians. Did you know that koalas have fingerprints just like humans? Yes, these fluffy Australian creatures have fingerprints that are almost identical to those of humans. Their intricate and unique patterns are so similar that if a koala left a print at a crime scene, it could be mistaken for a human's. This surprising similarity adds to their charm, making them even more fascinating. Nature never ceases to amaze, creating such unexpected similarities between species. Imagine koalas as little detectives, leaving their own unique traces in the eucalyptus forests. Why is Mauna Kea volcano 10 times taller than Everest? Mauna Kea on Hawaii is not just a volcano, but a towering structure that extends deep below the ocean's surface. Its above-water section is over 4,000 meters tall, but its underwater slopes stretch even further. Taking the full height of Mauna Kea from base to summit, it measures over 10,000 meters, making it far taller than Everest. Though its peak is hidden underwater, Mauna Kea is one of the tallest mountains on Earth. Why did Finland create hedgehog robots for cleaning parks? In Tampere, one of Finland's most eco-conscious cities, robots that look like hedgehogs were invented to collect litter in parks. These adorable devices are equipped with sensors that help them locate and pick up trash. The hedgehog robots not only help keep the parks clean, but also bring joy to park visitors who can watch the little robots at work. The Great Barrier Reef, a giant natural wonder. The Great Barrier Reef is not only the largest living structure on Earth, but also a bustling underwater city where thousands of species of fish, coral, and other marine creatures reside. It stretches over 2,300 kilometers along Australia's coast and is even visible from space. This natural wonder plays a crucial role in maintaining the ocean's ecosystem by filtering water and providing shelter for marine life. Unfortunately, climate change and ocean pollution threaten its existence. Scientists worldwide are working to preserve this astonishing underwater world for future generations. Why does freshly cut grass smell so good? The fresh scent of newly mowed grass is actually a distress signal. When grass is cut, it releases chemicals to warn nearby plants of danger. These compounds, known as green leaf volatiles, are a plant's way of signaling that it has been injured. This remarkable mechanism highlights the sophisticated communication that exists even in the plant world. So, the next time you enjoy the smell of cut grass, remember, it's nature's way of calling for help. It's hard to believe, but there are trees that walk. In the Amazon, there is a palm tree known as Socratia exoryza, which locals call the walking palm. This tree can move short distances over the course of several years in search of better growing conditions. Its roots gradually shift, causing the palm to step. While it's not a real walk, the plant's ability to move toward the light makes it unique in the plant world. Why do you think giraffes have black tongues? Giraffes have tongues nearly half a meter long, and they're not just black, they're blue-black. This unique color isn't random. It protects them from the sun. Giraffes spend hours each day stripping leaves from tall trees under the hot sun. The dark color acts like a natural sunscreen, preventing sunburn. This amazing adaptation lets giraffes spend all the time they need in the sun without worry. Nature thought of everything.